Several weeks ago, I was at a cafeteria, just a small cafeteria at the railway station. And there was this guy behind the cash deck. The clerk was serving the customers. There was one man in line in front of me. When he had to pay his stuff, he used his bank card. He just passed it by the machine. The machine didn't work. What did the clerk do? He smacked the machine. I was a bit shocked that he did that. The customer in front of me was also a bit shocked, but as a grown man, I believe he was somewhere near his 40s, he was calm. And the clerk said, do it again. And the customer did it and it worked. The guy said, well, that's how I was raised. You don't comply, bang. Well, it did work. The customer smiled and walked away. Then I came, I paid my stuff, and I left. I really wanted to challenge the guy and ask him, sir, you're out of your mind? What if you broke your hand? You could have harmed yourself. And for what? For just a machine that didn't work well? Look, the Holy Spirit prohibited me from doing that, and I obeyed the Holy Spirit, as I should. I also obeyed them. But that got me thinking, hold on a minute. So, you just hit a machine. You could have harmed your own hand. Because you were frustrated, it didn't work. The customer didn't even bother much with it. You did. Why did you bother with it? Because that's how you were trained. When your parents or the people around you were frustrated, they took it out on you and they endangered you. So they conditioned you to transfer frustration, even at your own expense, whenever you're challenged. And that guy, when he said that that's how he was raised, it did as if he was shocked that he said that. Because he realized, at his facial expression, I could see, he realized, hold on a minute, this doesn't add up. But then he said, but it worked out well. And then I was thinking, how could it have worked out well? You just hit a machine. Okay? But, okay. So this guy, who obviously is not born again, because I didn't sense any positivity coming from him. He wasn't negative minded. I didn't feel any negative vibe, but I could see at him, there's no Holy Spirit there. I could see that he was not interested in the things of God, because I didn't even feel a real masculine, I would say a masculine vibe coming from him. He was a man. He was not a tranny. I could see the masculine features, but I didn't sense any natural male confidence over there. He was a man. He was not girly or anything like that. But still, I was thinking, you're telling me that you turned out well because you comply with society without questioning things, without even questioning your parents. You're functional in society. You got a job. People aren't bothered by you. That means you ended up well. What? No, you didn't end up well. You didn't. Look, this type of thing often happens, that folks don't want to face things. Now look, there comes a point where you need to break the cycle of violence, or else the violence will haunt you. And when it haunts you, you'll either turn into a perpetrator yourself without you realizing it, or it will attract dangerous people onto you and can lead to sickness in your body, or even your premature death, or the premature death of your children, or those around you. That's how serious it is. There comes a point you need to break the cycle of violence. Seeing that the cycle of violence is one thing, but actually deciding to fight it, that's another. I mean, I'm not giving this example of what I witnessed to pick on that guy. No. This is not the only time I've witnessed something like this. I also witnessed, when I was a bit younger, I was maybe 17 years old, that there was this black woman with a kid, and she was Man, she went off at the kid. The kid was in the buggy. The kid didn't form a threat onto her, but she was in public. It was almost screaming. It wasn't a little screaming because no, people around her didn't really hear her voice, but it was kind of screaming things like, "You ruined my life because of you, this and that." And I was thinking, come on. Come on. You're the one that spread your legs and slept with some guy. You got a baby, and now you don't want to deal with the consequences. So now it's the kid's fault because you didn't want to use your mind. Because you willed whatever you willed, but now you don't want to deal with the consequences of your will. And now, what are people going to say against that child? When the child is older and endures narcissistic violence at the hand of that mother, they tell the child, you need to be respectful, it's your mother, blah, blah, blah. Hold on. Who is addressing the mother, telling her, "Hey woman, listen up. You need to stop that crap. You're a grown woman. You need to face your will. You need to accept that you can be challenged. You need to learn to process things. And stop transferring your waste energy on your kid. It's your offspring. She will be the one that will take care of you when you're older. So show a bit of honor to your kid." Do people do that? Nope. They just ignore it when an adult gets out of hand towards a kid. It's kind of a pattern I've noticed in this world. And as a kid, you're expected to endure the danger to relieve the community. Then you are a good kid. Then you are a good citizen. Look, I'm not saying a kid should escalate because that may be dangerous to the kid itself. But whether someone is a kid or a grown man or a grown woman, it doesn't matter to me. You have an inner radar as a human being. And when that radar goes off, it means that something is wrong. And you have the full right to signal to the community that something is wrong. And the community has the natural obligation to check what's wrong if something is wrong. And if something is truly wrong, the community has to deal with what's wrong. What happens now is that children often, not all children, it doesn't happen all the time, but often children, whether directly by the parents or by society, often by society, but parents often comply with society. Society conditions children to feel safe around predators. If you have a parent that can't handle his or her frustrations in a proper way, and they seek to control you to feel relieved, that's the behavior of a predator. Let's say this child now is 11 years old, in the early teens, and some adult comes by with this controlling behavior. That controlling behavior is what the kid is familiar with. That's the only thing he knows. He can't know any better. So now you have another grown man, maybe a teacher or a football coach, that comes along and takes advantage of that 11-year-old boy. The boy is sexually molested. And it's only afterwards that the boy realized that he was taken advantage of. How did it end up like this? The kid was trained to feel comfortable around predators because the parents acted as predators. So, is it the kid's fault he was taken advantage of? No. Could he have helped it? Could he have prevented that? The only thing he knew was to be comfortable around predatory behavior? No. The only thing is, once he's older, he must face what happened and process it so the danger won't haunt him, so the demons won't have access to him. That is the only responsibility he has and the only responsibility he can have. You get what I'm saying here? This whole BS that you were mismanaged by your parents but you ended up well, people need to stop it. If it's true that the millions of children that were smacked by their parents, maybe not physically but emotionally, that they ended up well, then how can it be that demons have a grip on so many people? How can it be that the pagan rulers of this world get away with so much murder, theft, kidnappings? Why is it that there's so much gender dysphoria in society if the adults ended up well? How come the adults don't challenge their leaders and put the leaders in their place? No, because you need to be respectful. So the adults didn't end up well. collectively, they're lying that it ended up well. They are in the collective denial. Well, that denial needs to stop. Because if the denial doesn't stop, the cycle of violence won't be broken. And will continue and continue. Don't you know that there are ethnicities where century upon century narcissistic violence is transferred collectively? I'm not going to name, okay, I'm going to name some names of some countries now. Think about China, think about Japan, think about places like Vietnam, where ancestor worship is high. Am I saying that everyone over there endures narcissistic violence at the hands of their parents or their relatives? No, I'm not saying that. Of course not. But in general, this whole idea that one of your ancestors, whether it's a parent directly or a grandparent, or anyone in authority has the right to victimize you and to damage you to feel relieved, this whole attitude should have been challenged, I'm saying, centuries ago. But because almost each generation wants to be left alone, it's transferred from generation to generation. It does bring continuity in that society for that ethnicity, but it also keeps the demons around. There are ethnic groups, or there are places where for more than 1,000 years, satanic patterns has been transferred. I mean it. For you to be delivered means you need to face things, acknowledge them, and process them. That's how you shake the dust off your feet. You remain active so the dangerous influence doesn't get a hold on you. Look, I'm recording this video to edify you. I'm telling you, you didn't turn out well. Whether you had parents that used to smack you emotionally or physically or not, society as a whole smacks you. If your parents didn't do it, society will. And you didn't end up well. You ended up functional, as society expects of you. But is this functional healthy for you in the long run? Is this functional in line with Christ? No. So you did not end up well. Stop saying that. The reason people say they ended up well because they compare themselves with those that are far worse off. Look, if you have a kid, let's say you have two children, one grows up in a house with an alcoholic father that throws things around, and the other grows up in a similar environment. The only reason why one of them ends up with a master's degree at the university and with a lot of college friends is because of mitigating actors. The other kid didn't have those mitigating actors. That's why the trauma escalated further and it spun out of control. The other guy who ended up with a master's degree, he had the fraternity, he had a soccer club during high school, he had some emotional compensation that relieved him from the tension of the trauma. And because of that, he could function a bit better than the one who didn't have the mitigating actors. Does it mean now that the one that had those mitigation actors, that he ended up well? No, because he's codependent on his wife, he's codependent on his college friends. Yeah, he married young, he's codependent on the local church, and he doesn't dare to question authority. Because anytime you question authority, something bad happens. So he didn't end up well. Compared to the one who's a drug addict and probably will die due to a drug overdose, he's relieved. But he's not well. Seriously, folks need to end this crap. Oh, I went through the same thing, but I ended up well. Cut it out! Cut it out! Agree with Christ and be at peace.